Okay, welcome back. And today, I'm recording this literally 10 seconds after I did that last one. We're going to go over an example here. Okay, so to use this calculator, and there's these tooltips you can turn on and off. That's what it said, tooltips, and you can turn those on and off. If you want to read the disclaimer, I make no promises that you're going to get rich by using this, but you know it's. Okay, if you fly for a network, one of these guys, that's what I have populated in there right now because I've had success with them, but there are a bunch of others. Just let me know what they are. You can also include it there. Or if you have your own client and they're asking you, to evaluate an offer, or if they're asking you for a quote, how much you would charge to do a job, this is where you do that. Okay, but you'll notice all the calculators kind of look the same. There's some differences, but really these red blocks are what you need to fill in. Those are mandatory. You have to fill those in. The rest of this stuff is, nice to know. It helps with things like research and all that. But you don't have to have those for your, for the, what comes up in here. I just lost my train of thought. It's basically a breakdown. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pick on ZiteView because I like picking on these guys. They're kind of the, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but they have a reputation, and I think it's rightly deserved. And I hope like hell that somebody from ZiteView watches these and kind of picks up on, we in the industry are getting tired of their shit. They're notorious for paying very low rates. I'll just say that. They don't treat their pilots very well. Whereas like Fly Guys and Rad, they're pretty awesome to deal with, and they pay more to the average / fair pricing than ZiteView. ZiteView's always really low, and they're pretty cutthroat. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox about that. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the calculator here, and I'm going to show you an example. So first, we're just going to walk through it. Up here at the top, if whatever this network is and they have any fees, it's going to be displayed here. So like Fly Guys, it says no fees. They use a payment processor called Ramp, and so if they tell you they're going to pay you $200, you'll actually get $200 in your bank. ZiteView uses a payment processor called Stripe. They charge a 2.9% fee plus 30 cents per transaction, so you'll get that taken off the top, which isn't too bad, actually. But then you go up to Droners, and Droners charges a 10% fee. This comes off your bid. So if you bid $500, they're going to charge, and you get awarded that job, they'll charge you $50 whenever the payment comes out. And they also use Stripe, which is, again, that 2.9% plus 30. So you have that up front. It's just, if you forget where you're at, it's got the name of the network here. Don't worry about this right here yet. These blocks. This right here is the flat rate offered. This is what they're telling you they're going to pay you to do a job. And you put the dollar amount in here. It gives you, you can put it in the location. This right here is what I was talking about earlier, the industry. You can change whatever industry it is. Just make sure that, if you choose an industry, you have numbers in those overrides. Otherwise, it's going to default to whatever your default rate is. Okay, you can lose money doing that. So very, very important button. But if you do a lot of residential real estate, you don't have to worry about re-clicking on this every time. It's going to default to whatever it is whatever you have it set at as your default. Mission date and time, pretty self-explanatory. If you already know what this is, a lot of times you won't, and you can add it later. I'm sorry, I'm happy with my arrow here, and it's probably driving some of you crazy. I'm sorry. Okay, this block right here is red, and it's critical. You need to know how much time it's going to take you on site to do a job. This comes with experience for you new pilots. Some of the networks will actually tell you about how long they think it's going to take. They give you an estimate, and you can use that. It's usually fairly conservative. But if you've been doing this a while and you have it down to a science, you'll realize that, what they tell you might be a 2-hour job, you can probably get done in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Sometimes if they say an hour, really it's about 15 to 30 minutes. But whatever you want to do, whatever you do, don't cut yourself short here, okay, just to make the numbers. And I'll show you that here in a minute. If it's going to take you, if you're thinking it's going to take you an hour to do a job, don't put 45 minutes in here. I usually err on the side of more time than less, because you want to just, if something goes wrong, you can't connect your drone to RTK or something like that. There's something that's going on. Or you have a Karen or a Ken come up to you and want to bend your ear about flying on their property or something. You want to build a little time in there so you're not kind of screwing yourself. Okay, drive time one way, miles one way. These automatically populate whenever you put in the location. And if you don't have a specific location, but you know how long of a drive or know how many miles it is, because it's in the middle of nowhere, then you can manually put those in there and it'll still calculate up the stuff for you. Any out-of-pocket expenses, so tolls, parking fees, food, you name it, that goes in here. Okay, other details. If you fly a special payload or a sensor, you can go in here. I have these 3 already populated, and you can tack on that, and it'll change your rates up here, okay? Because it does a little multiplier right here for those different payloads. Now, if you've already, and it'll give you a warning. If you choose that, it'll actually pop up with like a yellow banner down here, just saying, hey, be careful of double dipping on this, basically meaning, or double charging. If you're in settings, if you've already accounted for that special sensor in your, like for if you do agriculture, but you do multispectral only, you don't actually spray or anything, but you've already calculated that into your fee, then don't come down here and click multispectral, because then you're just doubling that up, and chances are pretty high you're not going to get the job, okay? Or this is always going to show up that you should walk away. So just be careful of that, okay? Notes, if you have any notes you want to toss in there. If you built this thing already and you hit cancel instead of save job, and you went ahead and flew it anyways, you can click on this button. It'll save it as a completed mission, so that way it tracks your income, your expenses, and your mileage for you. And if it's a recurring job, so you're doing a construction site or something like that you're going to do over a period of time, weeks, months, whatever, days, you can make it a recurring mission just by clicking on this. But before, as you can see, it comes up with a negative or no-go. You actually have to put a date in here first, and then it'll allow you to set up those parameters. Research and context. So let's, whenever you set a job location and you look that up. So again, all this happens really quickly, and I'll show you that here in just a sec. So you look this up, it'll automatically populate, a route for you, and it'll show you down here, and it'll also look up the airspace and give you, is it class C, is it class E, class G? It'll come up with that, and it'll show you what the altitude is that is available to you. So if you're in a grid that has like a 200-foot limit, it'll actually show you that. So that way you have an idea of how close you are to an airport or a protected area. If you put a date in, if you know what date it's going to be, it'll actually bring up a little weather forecast for you. And you can click on these buttons and it'll open it up, and I'll show you those. All right, context. This right here is an area average. It'll actually go out and research whatever industry you have selected here. Let me close this down. Whatever industry you have selected, it'll go out and look at the average that those are for that area. It'll give you a low, average, and high, and it'll show you what percentage your this rate that they're offering compares to the average for that area. So that's really good to see how bad SiteView is about to screw you, or is that something that is good for the area. It very rarely is with these networks. I'm just going to give you that up front. Oops. Hey, that's pretty. Anyways, that's good information to know. And also, this right here is that AI bid recommendation that I talked about earlier, and it'll take all this information, and it'll take all this area information, and it kind of does its own thing, and it will give you a second opinion slash just a third party look at all your stuff. So that right there in a nutshell, all the calculators kind of function the same way. So whether or not you have fly guys, they all just look the same. The bidding ones look a little different. Okay, you'll still enter the same data. This is your estimated time on site, and then you'll go down here and put in, after you do all this, it'll ask you how much you want to, actually bid, and you click on that, and it'll give you a breakdown, et cetera, et cetera. And those two type of bid calculators actually get reflected in this project. This project is for, if you're not flying for a network, you're flying for your own clients, and you need to evaluate an offer or build an offer. This is where you go and do that. Okay, so again, same calculator, same layout. The only big difference really is whenever you're building an offer and you start putting numbers in here, there'll actually be a dialog here to send an estimate to somebody. It'll give you a window to put in their email address and click which email provider you use, if it's like Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo or something like that, and it will go through there and it'll pre-fill out an email for you, and it'll have your branding on it if you've got all that set up in settings. So okay, so that's really kind of the calculator in a nutshell. Just wanted to go over that. Next up, we're going to actually do a quick demonstration of that, so that way you can see it in work, and yeah, we'll go from there. See you in the next one.